fellow weirdlings, it's your friendly neighborhood lizard lady. So we all know that February 14th is Valentine's Day. Subscribe if you eventually want to know the true story of St. Valentine and the Valentine's Day Massacre. Until then, we have March 14th, which has a few fun labels. Pi Day, 3.14159265359. And it keeps going. Also, steak and beef. I don't think I can finish that. At least not this early in a YouTube video. We'll call it Valentine's Day. The male equivalent of Valentine's Day. But seriously, if you think there needs to be a male equivalent, that's on you. Just a quick trigger warning, there is talk of toxic relationship dynamics, including coercion and warped consent. It is mythology, punishment, torture, and, well, we don't know the age of the kids, so it's possible child death. But remember, this is mythology, so fiction. But I totally get it if you don't want to stay. Let's get into it. In the image, I'm sure you recognize everyone's favorite trickster god by the helmet and the clothes. But who is the woman? It's not Sylvie. What is the deal with the bull and the snake? Okay, before we get into that, I have to tell you, we will be combining both Norse mythology and Marvel Comics lore, which is based on Norse mythology, at least for the Asgardians. So, no comments saying,
actually, that's only in Marvel Comics, not really in Norse mythology.
I get it, okay? I know there's a difference. But, let me remind you, Norse mythology mentions Sigyn as a footnote in Loki's story, despite the fact that she is his wife. It's a lot like the Persephone and Hades story I've already written about. Persephone didn't have a name until she married Hades. Okay, now that we understand each other, let's talk about Sigyn. As I said, I'm blending mythology and comics. Sigyn is Asgardian, the same species as Odin, Thor, Lady Sif, etc. She was engaged to Theorik, who was a member of Odin's guard. Loki decided he wanted to marry Sigyn. He offered her jewels and proposed. She was already engaged and she didn't really like him. So Loki arranged for Theorik to be killed and impersonated him. Like how he impersonated Odin in Thor Ragnarok. And also a little like King David in the Bible. Yeah, that happened. Under the guise of Theorik, Loki made Sigyn fall even deeper in love with him. She was suspicious, but under his spell. Let's pause for a second, because that's not cool. Consent needs transparency. It's like that scene in Revenge of the Nerds, where the nerd, dressed as Darth Vader, cannolas the cheerleader. Just for anyone who doesn't know, canola oil is rapeseed oil. Take off the seed, and that is what I mean when I say canola. Because there's no way in hell that I'm calling it grape. So, already, things aren't good. Sigyn married Theorik, with Odin presiding, and even Odin couldn't see through the illusion. When it was finally revealed that she had married Loki, Odin tried to annul the marriage. But Asgardian law made it so that even the High Father, the All-Father, couldn't annul a marriage. Which I find kind of crazy, because the only story of divorce in mythology that I've heard is in Norse mythology, between Skadi and Njord. Which, crazily enough, Skadi, goddess of winter, skiing, mountains, and bow hunting, believed she was marrying Balder, god of light, joy, purity, beauty, and innocence, based on feet alone. Apparently Asgard needs wiki feet. But instead, she married Njord, god of the sea, seafaring, fishing, wind, and wealth. So they married, but then they couldn't agree on where to live, so they divorced. But that was mutual. Loki wanted to marry Sigyn. And it wasn't going to be that easy. So, Odin exiled Loki. Sigyn was in tears, but accepted her marriage and left with him. Thus, Sigyn was given the title Goddess of Fidelity by Odin. So if we continue with the comics, she followed Loki all over. But you want to know about the picture. Well, here's the thing. That is from Norse mythology itself. You see, like all mythology, the Norse had explanations for natural disasters. The Greek, and by extension Romans, blamed the Titans for earthquakes, volcanoes, floods, etc. The Norse said that a giant snake, the world serpent, Jormungandr, also called Ouroboros, yes, that is where the name Obi in the series Loki comes from, continuously eats its tail and makes the world, Midgard, Earth, spin. Jormungandr is one of Loki's children with Angrboda, along with Fenrir and Hela. So that explains the rotation of the Earth. But what if I told you that Loki is responsible for earthquakes? Yeah, I'm serious. So there's a prophecy that certain things have to happen for Ragnarok to begin. We all know that prophecies are clear and transparent, right? I mean, there was only one child that could be the chosen one, right? I'm sure you get my point. A few things had to happen for Ragnarok. And for those of you who don't know, Ragnarok is the end of times, the apocalypse, the rapture, you may say. Except the Norse myth came before the belief of the rapture. I'm not saying it came before the book of Revelation was written, but it came before the fear-mongering of the rapture was in the lexicon. So, Fenrir and Loki joined the Jotun to overthrow Odin and all of that. Really, I don't know. It's not what I did my research on. Loki kills Balder in the only way he can die, with a mistletoe arrow. Yeah, the stuff you hang from the ceiling and kiss under every Christmas. Selena Kyle had a point. Mistletoe is poisonous. As punishment, Loki is chained and a venomous serpent perches above him and drips venom onto him. Venomous means that the creature secretes a toxin and causes damage from contact with the toxin. Poisonous means you ingest the creature or item and it makes you sick from the inside. So, if you are bitten, or are like Nedry and a creature spits in your face, that's venomous. Unless it's a Komodo dragon. They just have really bad hygiene. But in this case, the snake isn't any old snake. It's actually the intestines of Loki's son with Sigyn, Narfi. They have another son too, Vali. Odin takes Narfi's intestines and transforms them into a venomous snake or serpent. So, holy crap, am I right? There is no way in hell that Sigyn is staying for that, right? Yeah, but no, but yeah, but no. Sigyn stays. Not only does she stay, but she holds a bowl beneath the mouth of the snake to shield Loki. When the bowl is full, she dumps it. As she is dumping it, Loki is hit by the venom. When he is hit, he writhes in pain, and the ground shakes. That's right, weirdlings. Loki causes earthquakes. Yeah, it's a toxic relationship. It began with deception. There are extramarital affairs, unless, of course, they have an open relationship. If they do, cool. I take that point back. And it ends with Loki possibly killing her father, Balder. We don't know who her father is, but it is part of one of her origin stories. And as for punishment, they lost their children. But they still have each other. She still loves him. And I bet he loves her in his own way. A few points before we go. Sigyn is the feminine form of the Old Norse term meaning friend of victory. The Prose Edda and the Poetic Edda, which are the main sources we have for Norse mythology, were compiled and written in the 13th century, the 1200s, by Snorri Sturluson, an Icelandic historian and poet born in 1179 and died on September 23rd, 1241. Really, all we know about Sigyn from the Prose Edda is her kids and her loyalty to her husband. Just a little more WTF to sprinkle in. According to the Prose Edda, Vali is changed into a wolf and tears apart Narfi. Narfi's intestines are used to chain Loki to the three stones and possibly turned into the snake. Eventually, Loki breaks free and Fenrir breaks free from his chains. He's also chained. Bada bing, bada boom, Ragnarok. So, yeah, mythology is effing metal. Sigyn is the goddess of loyalty and fidelity because, despite everything, she loves her husband. So, Reddit may show us that the straights aren't okay, but not everyone hates their spouse. Sleep well, weirdlings, and I hope you find your Sigyn. Minus all the toxic stuff and dismemberment.